Is omnipresence absolute? All right, that's the question for today. That is the question for number 125 on the list of the 144 fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. And if you'd like to get a full listing of all 144 of those, you can click the link in the description, I suppose. You could also just put your name and email in the comment section. I should get that either way, and I'll be able to send that out to you for free. It's a good guide that it's not quite up to date, but it is like to my latest revisions. But it is a good guide that will just help you to be able to kind of cross-reference and refer back and compare and contrast as you go through all of these videos, these 144 different videos that I'm doing on the various fractal faculties of the Tree of Life. Also, if you'd like to just brush up on your Tree of Life, you can watch my video called Tree of Life, an Introduction on YouTube only, I believe. And if you'd like to go a little bit deeper than that, you can send me $10 on Cash App or Venmo, and I will send you a copy of my book called The MASSTree. It's just like 65 pages, and it's just an intro to Tree of Life, but it goes deeper, and it will hopefully spark your interest the way that Tree of Life sparked my interest many years ago, from its incredible utility, that you can just use it for everything. But you have to learn it to a certain point. You have to kind of have it memorized in your mind. You have to know where all the spheres are, how they're connected, and what their meaning is, just in short. And then you can work with it. Once it kind of sinks into your subconscious, then it starts to work. Okay, now today we're looking at number 125. So here's the tree. Just keep in mind the tree is, for the purposes of this discussion, is a map of our consciousness. And the spheres on the tree, or the circles on the map, are faculties of our consciousness, or abilities of our consciousness, or capabilities, or parameters of our consciousness. And there are 12 of them. They're numbered from 10 all the way down to 0 at the top of the tree, above the tree. And then we also have an abyss here. So that's a total of 12. And today, when we're looking at number 125, we're sitting up here in the first sphere. Okay, so the first sphere at the top. And what faculty of consciousness is represented by the first sphere? Well, this is our omnipresence faculty, all everywhere at once, eternally. We are everywhere. And the question today was, is omnipresence absolute? Well, we look at the Trinity here, our three divine faculties, 3, 2, and 1. Omnipotence, all-powerful; omniscience, all-knowing; and omnipresence, all present everywhere at once. But as we pointed out over the last month or so, 3 and 2, omnipotence and omniscience, are not, it's not like all powerful. We have a kernel of that all powerfulness. We are all powerful to the extent that we can be human. Now, all powerful, it doesn't mean that we can, lift up a mountain. We're not. Now that may be the case when we dig into the psychic powers here, but that is not really related to this. So the omnipotence doesn't mean that we can do everything. It doesn't mean that we can, go out and, grow a grow a centipede's legs. We can't grow 100 legs or something. We can only do what is humanly possible. But what is humanly possible is usually beyond the realm of what we even consider to be possible. So it greatly enlarges our potential, but it's not omnipotent. It doesn't enable us to do absolutely everything, but everything that we need to do as humans is what it enables us to do. It enables us to do things that other people consider to be impossible, but they're still within the realm of human accomplishment. And so too here with the omniscience, all-knowing or wisdom. This doesn't mean that we know how many grains of sand are on the beach. Again, that might be something that we can approach here through the psychic powers, but through the second sphere, we're able to, wisdom is really defined as our ability to solve all problems, solve all our problems, solve other people's problems, and to be able to actually anticipate our own problems and avoid them so that they don't arise even in the first place. Okay, so it's not strictly omniscience. We don't know everything. We don't know how many stars there are in the universe. But we do know what we need to know when we need to know it. And so too then again here with the first sphere, omnipresence, all present everywhere at once. Does that mean that we are absolutely everywhere? Well, we'll talk about that as we go through this. So that is, though, what the first sphere is about. It's the everything, the all, everything in the universe. And this is really what you would call an ether. It's subsisting. It's, kind of below the surface. It's at the deepest center of everything. Okay, so, and then also it's a unifying factor, meaning that when we get to our deepest center, our higher self inside that underlies everything, we recognize that what's at our deepest center is the same as what's at everything else's deepest center. And that connects us. We're all connected through this first sphere network of omnipresence. But it doesn't mean really everywhere at once. It means at the center of everything. Okay, there's a slight difference there. It doesn't mean that it is in it like everything absolutely. It's actually just at the center of everything, at the center of every location. Okay, so we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along. So the most important thing here is that the first sphere is about omnipresence, and that's what we're talking about, all present everywhere at once. And that is one of our 12 faculties. Now, to get from 12 faculties of consciousness all the way to 144 fractal faculties, what we're doing is we're taking the tree of life to a second power. 12 times 12 is 144. So what we're really doing is taking the whole tree and shrinking it down to the size of just one sphere and applying it to each sphere. So we break down the second sphere into its 12 faculties. We break down the third sphere into its 12 faculties. And we break down the first sphere into its 12 faculties. When you add all of them up, 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, and so on, you end up with 144 fractal faculties. So now for number 125, what we're really looking at is we're looking at the mini sixth sphere within the first sphere. Okay, we put the whole tree on the first sphere. So there's a mini ninth, a mini 10th sphere, a mini ninth sphere, a mini 8th sphere, a mini 7th sphere, and today we're talking about the mini 6th sphere within this overall first sphere omnipresence. Now, what does the 6th sphere represent? Well, you can see that the 6th sphere is in the middle of the tree, and you may recall from previous videos that the 6th sphere is our free will faculty, which kind of condenses to our ability to pay attention and our ability to make decisions. The first decision of which would be to pay attention. And normally, paying attention is a vector. We pay attention in a direction. We pay attention to something or towards something. Okay, but normally in the workaday mundane world, we are paying attention into this matrix of 8, 9, and 10. Like the consensus worldview and what's going on in the domestic, in our homes, and our survival. And this is what we normally pay attention to. But when we activate our free will, we actually turn our backs on that lower aspect and we move our attention up the tree and we start paying attention to our higher faculties, our more spiritual faculties up the tree. The first one of which would be the fifth sphere here. So that takes a great deal of courage because this is really our comfort zone here. And we're turning our backs on this comfort zone and we're gazing into this unknown area up here where we know very little about this. And so we're showing courage because we're standing in the face of our fear. Normally, what is unknown is what is scary to us. And so we have decided, okay, this is this is my comfort zone, but I want to, because I know that this is the path of truth and this is the path of reality, that I'm going to have to put myself out there, expose myself to vulnerability and fear, and to look into the unknown, the higher spheres. Okay, so that's kind of what the sixth sphere is about. Now, what we're doing here at number 125 is we're really imagining the kind of the linkage or the combination between that sixth sphere understanding and this greater omnipresence here of the first sphere. And this one is called 6 around 1, which is, I guess, it is the sixth fractal of the first sphere. 6 around 1, vector equilibrium reference system. One of law, language, and love. Stage number 125 is about tuning into the tetrahedral geometry of the natural reference system, in particular the vector equilibrium laid out 6 around 1, and how it lies out of phase with the material world and the cosmic world too. The axes of tetrahedral geometry are the 4 diagonals of the XYZ cube. But we must look further deeper within that tetrahedron. When we look deep within it, we find an octahedron. And then when we look deeper, even more deep within, then we find the vector equilibrium, which center plane, it has 4 center planes. Each one is formed by 6 balls around 1. Or you can think of it as 6 coins around 1. 6 coins fit exactly around 1. Not 5, not 7, not 5.5, not 7.5, or whatever. 6 exactly. And that is the equator of the vector equilibrium. So within this tetrahedral geometry, 1 axis is real, 3 are imaginary. So that's 1 and then IJK. 2 interlocking tetrahedra, the star tetrahedron, occupies the same space as the cube of Euclidean geometry, the 6 planes. Each one of those planes, if you put an X on each one of the planes of the cube, then you have a star tetrahedron. So if you just connect the diagonals of the corners of each one of the faces of the cube, you get a star tetrahedron. One connects with and sustains with the whole universe, the natural reference system, the center of you connecting with me as I let go of my identity, my ego, beyond Euclidean, out of phase, so beyond matter, but there can still be energy, pervading our subtle energies at our deepest center, an ether, but a connection with everyone else. We're all the same geometrically. We're all the same deep down. In phase, in tune with the natural reference system, health and prosperity are achieved by steadfast perseverance in the identification with the indwelling intelligence instead of the identity or ego. In thought, speech, and action, in sync. Through such discipline, one may become an avatar of the natural law, perfectly reflecting the will of the divine. Beyond time and space, tap into the Akashic records, the universal memory, what happened eternally, 4D. Everyone's photographic and phonographic memory of their whole lives can be tapped by connecting the vector equilibrium at our center with the isotropic vector matrix, or the natural reference system, enabling monumental accomplishments, a wonder of the world that people flock to see, people flock to witness. The vector equilibrium is our higher self within. Once we get there, we can see that the vector equilibrium has a universal connection with all other higher selves through the isotropic vector matrix. There is a vector equilibrium at every location, omnipresence. Okay, that is the first fractal of the sixth sphere, 6 around 1. That's what it's called, number 125. And the vector equilibrium is Buckminster Fuller's term. The, I guess, technical term for that would be the cube octahedron, is one of the Archimedean solids. But if you take the tetrahedron has 6 edges. And if you bisect those 6 edges and then connect the bisectors of those edges, then you get to the octahedron. And then if you take that octahedron and you bisect all 12 edges of the octahedron and you connect those, then you get the cube octahedron. So it's buried deep within the star tetrahedron, which is kind of veiled within the cube. So the cube is what we normally, are thinking when we're thinking of Euclidean geometry, but it's got those 3 layers of other solids that are within it. And actually, you can also take the vector equilibrium then. If you take the center out of it, then you end up with the icosahedron. And the icosahedron gives birth to the dodecahedron, which comes back to the cube eventually. Okay, now, again, if you'd like that full, we'll be talking about this a lot more in detail with, graphs and pictures and so on. Probably not until the beginning of the year, but on this channel, we will be delving into the sacred geometry of all this at a certain point. Right now, we're just laying the groundwork with the Tree of Life, because if you get the Tree of Life, then it makes all the other stuff that much easier, so much easier if you have the Tree of Life as your foundation. So that's why we're emphasizing Tree of Life to start with. And if you want to get that free copy of the 144 Fractal Faculties of the Tree of Life, just put your name and email in the comment section, or you can click the link in the description. I'll get it probably either way, and I'll send it out to you for free. If you'd like to donate to the channel for future research, you can do so through Cash App and Venmo. If you'd like to get something for your donation, donate $10 and I'll send you a copy of my book. the MASSTree, which is called Reclaiming the Kabbalah from the Cabal, and that is $10. Cash App and Venmo listed in the description. Stay tuned for future videos coming up on this channel, including number 126 rolling out tomorrow, and hopefully, and other videos coming up, fairly soon on other subjects. All right, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you soon.